Yes, and
Terran versus Zerg action coming up here on the Fragbite Masters StarCraft tournament powered by Comhem. We are loaded into the first game. In the bottom position, spawning as the red Terran player, he is Happy.
And spawning on the top of Varney Research Station as our blue Zerg from Team Envy, we have viOLet. One cool thing about these two players also, they're both from a Warcraft 3 background. And they were both pretty similarly skilled, actually. Like, Happy was probably the second best undead in the world after a guy called Ted. And viOLet was definitely, like, at his peak, a top 5 Orc player, I do believe. But,
so yeah. let me ask you, do you know which of the like top non-Korean players come from a Brood War background? Because I know that players like Idra and Huck, but out of the Europeans, because I feel like most of them, at least from what I've heard, were all Warcraft players.
I mean, I'll have to think about that for a while. Like, I remember very early on in Wings of Liberty, like even the beta, before it was a war between Koreans and everybody else, there was a war between Warcraft 3 players and Brood War players. And like I think the best foreigners came from like a Warcraft 3 background back then, because microing was kind of like a deal that the Brood War guys they hadn't seen as much, you know. Like, although it was just way harder to do, so Warcraft 3 players used to focus all the time on it. So like players like Stefano and Nanoir with a Warcraft 3 background, they just did very well. But okay, where did Snoot come from?
I know he had a DDR background of sorts.
I don't know what. Yeah, the DDR, but I don't know where Bunny came from.
I think Snoot was, from what if I recall correctly, in like an interview, I think it was like casual Brood War player. He wasn't like crazy into it. It wasn't like competitive, but
yeah, I'm actually not sure. Like, if you gave me a piece of paper to write down names and stuff, I'm pretty sure I'd get there for you eventually. But put me on the spot a little bit.
I mean, I was just curious if you knew anything off the top of your head. This game. So Varney Research Station, Terran versus Zerg. Nothing surprising to kick this game off. A Reaper opening out of Happy. viOLet going for the hatch first. Not worried about being hit with any aggressive play, as he's not opened up with a very quick spawning pool.
Now, immediately I have to note that I'm a little confused as to why you'd scout with a SV on this map in particular.
Yeah, you can't. There's no risk of an early pool getting Lings over to your natural, because your natural's tucked in.
It looks like he's hoping to get a bunker down somewhere. And I know Happy's very, very fond of that. Yeah, so Happy's very fond of that. And I mean, this position, realistically for the Zerg, like, what's that going to do? It's out of vision and stuff.
Yeah, but I think viOLet should notice that the SCV didn't walk down the ramp, because his Overlord would have spotted it. But now the Reaper's going to basically be jockeying for it. And if the Lings are baited over, well, now he's... Don't show this.
I mean, he was about to lure him all the way to that bunker.
The Queen won't be out in time to stop the bunker, but now he sees that it's being built, and doesn't matter how close it's to finishing. If he kills that SCV before it finishes, yep.
And it's done.
Doesn't matter.
You lost 50 minerals.
He delayed his expansion. I don't. Do you do this when you open Reaper? I don't like to do this.
Like,
I've tried it a few times, and then you very quickly realize...
I just don't think it's worth it in any way, shape, or form. Like, we do have Happy going for 3 Reaper, so if that bunker did get up, it could have...
It could have really been devastating.
Even if you get it up, though, you force, like, at best, like 2 extra sets of Lings, and you kill it, and it's like, oh, you just invested a 50 mineral SCV that wasn't mining per minute, so it's 40 minerals per minute, and you also invested the 100 minerals on the bunker itself.
Well, like, you have really killed any interest I would have in ever trying this again.
Yeah, I mean, on a map like this where your main is the front, like, and the 2 Lings pop out from the main, at least, you know, I don't really see the point of it. Whereas, like, say if you put it on the natural, like on a map like Merry-Go-Round, he used to do this a lot because that was the first entrance, and you can put it right next to the hatchery, so it's harder to actually kill the SCV itself. But here, we'll see what he can do with these 3 Reapers, so just being annoying.
Yeah, he's going for a quick starport to follow all of this up. He took a second gas, and maybe we're going to see him go right into Banshees out of this.
Look at his supply, by the way. 31 out of 54. And before he started those Hellions, it was 27 out of 54. So quite a few depots extra did Happy make. I mean, normally you're kind of vying to time it up very nicely, as each depot that you make too early, that's time wasted that you could have been mining. So I feel that Happy is maybe a little bit nervous here with this build of his.
A little bit ahead of himself, to say the least. viOLet's had a pretty reasonable start to this game. He has his lair on the way and a Roach Warren. viOLet known for doing the Roach builds. I'd say he, of the Zergs, especially that played in WCS America last year that I got to watch, definitely likes his Roach builds almost as much as a guy like Hyun.
I like the fact that viOLet has this creep tumor on the right side of his base. So when he sees that the army is on the left side, he can try and expand it to the right. And Happy, he's noted that. He's noted where the creep spread has got to. So he's going to keep on poking a Reaper over there. And I mean, the fact that he can't really deal damage over here, it might be worth just having a Reaper rallying on the right side. And viOLet, he sees exactly what's going on here. So he knows, hey, my opponent's getting cloak, and eventually I'll have to get some Spore Crawlers out.
Yeah, that's going to be the one big threat to deal with, especially as this third base has not yet been started for viOLet. So the Banshees are a pretty reasonable way to deal with roaches on this map. That choke point's very tight as far as trying to go into the main.
Gave him the big P, so a little bit of a pause here for viOLet. But yeah, like right now, what do we have? Like we have a Zerg that's been confined to 2 bases, a Terran that's been getting, or he's got Hellions out, he's got Banshee on the way, and we have the Zerg that's getting roaches with +1 carapace and speed. Like, I mean, how do you see this game unfolding? Because
I've seen the +1 carapace speed push out of viOLet, but against Banshees, like you really shouldn't have a lot of, like you don't have too much force you can go through with this because the Banshees can just rain hell down from above. But
I feel this is a bit of a weird situation to be in because
there's an armory, so now I feel a little bit better about the roach option.
So he's going mech actually.
Ooh.
Which we have seen Happy do.
Did you watch Pro League this morning?
Who was the game? Sky High against Sue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I did watch that game.
The mech's been busted out on this map a few times. Happy went exclusively mech in his WCS group as well.
He did say that he's had like 20% success rate with bio and like 70% with mech, so he's been doing it.
That's so weird, man. I don't know. I stopped being able to win with mech a while ago.
Yeah, me too.
I like my bio.
But I think the advantage of mech is that so few players do it these days that Zergs kind of get worse against it. But if you do it against Firecake, I'm pretty sure you're going to lose.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he doesn't have some sort of anti-Firecake build. And Happy's even going to get a bunker on his third base. He's worried about the roach counter push coming. You know, that is a pretty quick roach speed, all things considered. If he wants to use the Banshees to attack those roaches, that means he can't harass viOLet, who doesn't have, you know, crazy amount of Spore Crawlers or anything. He's relying on the Queens for the defense. But, yeah, that being said, everything's looking pretty smooth for both players at this point. I just feel like viOLet needs to move to another tech a little bit faster. There's no Infestation Pit or Hydralisk Den or Spire on the way yet.
Like, realistically, going up to Infestation Pit and getting your bases out, creep spread's vital. Swarm hosts are ideal. So what's Happy going for here? He's got multiple Banshees on the field.
Well,
so
this is smart. He recognizes the power that these roaches have if he were to be caught with his pants down.
3 Banshees, I mean,
these mines.
Oh, geez, Happy.
Boom.
Oh, nice spread, though. But, I mean, this is super nice for Happy. He's identified what's happening, and he's almost completely counter-builded viOLet at this point. Though
Does he have any Marines on the map? Did he make anything out of that barracks?
No.
4 Marines.
Oh,
he has 4. Okay.
I guess he could wait for the Widowmine cooldown too.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's happened to me a few times. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go mech. You don't use the barracks for anything. Just build the tech lab, and then it's like, oh, he's blocking me. Oh, my barracks is floating somewhere.
Oh, damn! So that minute in which I cannot, or you know, the
You've
creep
got a
takes to
long
clear.
time. Yeah, you're kind of stuck. Well, there we go. The Infestation Pit is coming in. Should be a swift movement to swarm hosts. Buckle down, boys.
viOLet's identified what he's up against, and I think, like, I've always known him as a pretty smart player, very good with counterattacks and such, which, with his lings and what have you, but while avoiding lings.
He's also the kind of guy that likes to put his own twist on things, right? The +1 Carapace Roach speed opening isn't super popular, to say the least. You know, the only other guys I've seen do that are players like Hyun and Revival, but Banshee's clearing up creep. Do you like this? Actually surprised that Tumor didn't die.
Yeah, the 2-shot from the Banshee does not do it.
Fought all 3 fired, man. My eyes are not.
Happy
not
being
today.
nifty there with a few shots onto those creeps.
Yeah.
So, what
I like this because he's going straight into swarm hosts. Like Happy has a lot of freedom to keep these Banshees out on the map. Like, of course, you run into issues with getting into position to actually deal with like that 4th base and being on the right side of the map. But Enduring Locust is on the way. We're making our way towards the swarm hosts. Happy scans. He won't see any swarm hosts finish, but I think you see that wiggling Infestation Pit. You know what's happening. There's one of the things that he was kind of worried about is a possible Spire, like if he had 10 Mutas fly into his natural. But I believe he whipped out a lot of turrets, so I think he's pretty safe and sound. Like viOLet, what he really needs to focus on here is getting that creep spread. And he's doing just that. Look how he's spreading his creep, by the way. This is very important. He's spreading to the very edge of the creep.
That means that each cycle that you spread, it goes that much
Yeah,
further.
his tumors are spaced out actually very well. That's important to note. These Hellions are going to clean up a few more of them. Having the Reapers even still alive, nice way to keep everything together. He hasn't really thrown away too many resources this game as compared to that massive smattering of roaches that got wrecked earlier on.
Now he's adding on his second armory. Oh,
this is the power of the Banshees. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that we didn't see a Spire to at least get some control. Like, these Banshees are being allowed to do a little bit too much. If he had gotten the hatchery, that would have been really nice.
That would have been super nice. Luckily, he's got quite a lot of transfusion energy. But yeah, we've seen that normally when you go mech, you kind of rely on Hellions kind of harassing and stuff. Yeah. But we've seen people kind of brute forcing it with Banshee harass and like turning Hellions into Hellbats. So you can actually deal damage to vital structures. Here, though, viOLet, I really like the fact that his swarm host count is getting as high as it is. I mean, we have a lot on the field right there. That's a good, like, 14, 15 or so. And then we have, like, 5 more in production. Like, he's doing everything right. Like, if we
he has enough swarm hosts to stop any direct assault.
Yeah, and look at what Happy's doing. He's going for that big push here.
I still think that there's a chance this could work if he moves in slowly enough with the tanks, because these Banshees don't really have a crazy answer because he didn't get a Spire.
That was kind of unfortunate, losing all those roaches, and a bit sloppy by viOLet, to be honest. Like, he must have been focusing on other stuff around the map. But here, how's he going to deal with these Banshees? Is he just going to rely on his Queens? Because
there's so many SCVs with this, too, to repair. Like, as long as you keep the tanks close enough to help zone away Queens from chasing the Banshees and repairing them like this.
The fact that there's so many swarm hosts on the field already, though, I don't think Happy expected this at all. And viOLet did the exact right thing here, getting enough swarm hosts to just deal with a push. And yeah, he thwarted that pressure instantly. And
yeah, I expected a few more tanks to be with this push from Happy. The Banshees are still going to work. He's not afraid to fight the spores, but there's so much transfusion energy. I really like how active these Queens are, constantly moving around.
Yeah, and like creep
spread. He got pathogen
although,
glands too, so I guess that's going to be his answer to the Banshees to try to fungal growth.
With some Queens to tank the damage and maybe bunch up the Banshees. Like, yeah, I think that's really smart. We have good upgrades coming in from both of them. So 2-1, or 2-2 is finishing for viOLet, 2-1 incoming for Happy. More turrets on the field for Happy. And you may think like, well, you know, he's not against a Spire here. Like, he's not against any air.
I think it's always worth it just in case.
Better safe than sorry. Better safe than sorry, because, you know, you've got a very immobile army.
Any Terran who's ever played mech has had that moment when you lose because, you know, you weren't expecting the Muta switch.
Yeah, and it's a horrible situation to be in. So, yeah, better safe than sorry. Like, it's a good motto to live by. Nice little bit of Hellion harass here by him.
Yeah, a couple of slowlings trying to catch these blue flame Hellions, not having too much success, and he can run in. Actually, that third base mineral line is quite open, but you know, he can go wherever he wants at this point. Hive is on the way, and these Hellions get to see that now.
Oh, I'm letting in these Hellions, despite having like 21 roaches on the field, is
The biggest thing that concerns me is how late this fourth base is for Happy, since we've got, I mean, the Zerg's been on 4 for a while, but I guess since he's killed a reasonable number of drones, he's forced them to basically spend a significant amount of resources replacing them.
This could
not
be
the worst thing ever.
This could be a bit of a weird moment, because these locusts are moving down the right side.
The infestors aren't out yet.
Right, but also, look at this mech army. He's getting on top of these swarm hosts here. This is a big move by Happy.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be able to zone out the fourth base on the left side, and swarm host's actually dying. It's not supposed to happen to Muslim.
Oh,
Gets another swarm host. Oh, he's just going to town. Oh, they're the infestors. They're the infestors, okay.
There's also damage being done in the main base by Happy. He's killing drones at this point.
He's got he's got the Hellions in there.
Like, not many are dying, it has to be said, but still 6. It's quite a healthy number.
And that Hellion's distracted, but, you know, I think he's getting enough done to kill this fourth base. And actually killing swarm hosts is how you know, that's a great way to deplete the bank of the Zerg.
Oh, man. I love the fact that he's got Spore Crawlers here to defend these swarm hosts, because if they weren't there, well, that would have been a lot of dead swarm hosts.
Yeah, he was able to move them when the infestors first came out and push them away. Having a tank in range of the Spore is really nice, but there are so many swarm hosts, and a couple of the tanks up top being distracted makes it a bit trickier. But I think at this point, Happy should just go home, back it up. He's on 4 bases against a 3-base Zerg, and yeah.
I'm a little surprised that viOLet didn't try and take more bases with this.
Yeah, like, usually you see the Zerg try to just take as much as you can because you have so many resources. Like, he's banking 3K.
Yeah, like, take the goal. And Happy's coming for another push here, bringing in, like, SCVs with it. viOLet's just kind of throwing away units at this point. I mean, we look at the resources lost tab, and
swarm hosts make you rich. I don't know if they make you that rich.
But back in the day, Zerg used to trade very inefficiently against Terran, and that was okay. But here, Like, that shouldn't happen with Swarm Host. Those are units of 3, and like the fact that he's lost more than double the resources of his mech opponent Happy, like that's insane. So I think he's just been playing a little bit sloppy here.
Yeah, viOLet a bit over eager. He's building 18 Hydralisks.
And obviously,
do we have any Vipers on the map? I don't think so. It's going to make it very difficult to engage this army.
Trying to get some nice bundles here is
this is what happens when you don't build mutas, by the way. You have one Thor and, I mean, a bajillion siege tanks. Like, you can't get away with 21 tanks against a player that's got mutas on the map. Comes over here, the Hydras pick off not really a lot. The tank's still getting some damage on. Hellions on top of the gold base. And there's no fourth base in sight. He's got the chokehold now on viOLet.
viOLet seems very lost with what to do against this. I mean, you're against a very tank-heavy Banshee composition with one Thor and a few Vikings, and he made Hydra. I mean,
building roaches right now, 13 in production. You're building this army composition into someone who, you know, has 21 siege tanks. I'm not sure you're gonna be able to break him. The counterattack, it's smart, but I think it's a little, you know, it's a little too late. I'm not sure. I don't know how he's supposed to beat Happy's army at this point without anything other than just roaches and hydras.
Well, Happy is kind of sad about losing this base, obviously. There's is this going to win viOLet the game? No, and this push does get thwarted. So
he did finish the gold base now, so viOLet's starting to get a little bit of. I don't want to say momentum since Happy's still maxed and banking more than him.
What's fighting in the middle of the map here? Is that against Warhouse? I see red splodges. Oh, left a few units behind here. So
yeah, left the Banshees behind. Vipers are finally coming out though, but we're about to see the transition into mass air from Happy. He's got 3 Banshees in production. He's getting Corvid Reactor, durable materials, so his Ravens will be coming out strong. There's no Overseer. The Banshees are actually wrecking the Hydras.
You imagine Nathania. And I mean, the Overseer keeps getting sniped by these Vikings. And how many is there? There's like 8 Vikings on the field.
And they'll deal with the Vipers too.
Yeah, like viOLet has been kind of struggling for bases now. Keeps getting his 4th sniped. He's about to get this gold sniped as well. His gas is ridiculously low because he spent so much of it on Hydras. Imagine right now if we just had 30 mutas join the field.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, that mech army, what's it going to do? I mean, it gets absolutely wiped out, and we still have more Hydras joining the fray, and realistically, what are they going to do against us?
Yeah, I understand that, you know, a good Terran player will always check their the behinds when it comes to the mutas. He built a lot of turrets in preparation, but that doesn't mean that the army is invincible. Like, he's been so free to move around because of that, and now Ravens are on the way. 15 Hydras in production. I don't see how that's supposed to kill this army. As long as these Vikings don't accidentally kill themselves, he shouldn't be able to get blinding clouds on top of the tanks. No,
and Happy now is pretty much a 5-base Terran against a struggling to get a 4-base Surge.
Yeah, and viOLet's out of gas, so like, all the minerals in the world aren't going to help you against mech. You're not going to kill him with Roach, Ling, or, you know, at this point, I don't think Hydralisk is going to cut it either. He's hoping for miracle blinding clouds while a Locust Wave hits, pretty much.
Oh, and these Locusts, like, they're not getting much done against this number of tanks.
He's keeping a lot of his tanks unsieged as well, so he doesn't have to, because he knows that he has so many tanks. Like, half the tanks in this army are enough to kill all the Roaches and Hydralisks that viOLet has.
Oh, so he's got a tank here. Oh, wait, what was shooting at that? Was that a tank? Just randomly placed?
He's got something at the, one at the tower, it looks like.
Okay, that's kind of groovy.
Man.
It is truly the Watcher of the Watchtower. So, 9 Hydras on the way, still more Hydras. So, he's making Hydras because he's very scared of these Banshees, but...
It's still difficult to push into the Swarm Hosts for Happy, but eventually he'll be able to do that because there's nothing that can deal with the Ravens, the Vikings, the Banshees.
You know, this just shows you that... You know how Firecake plays against this? He makes Infestors, he makes Swarm Hosts, he makes Corruptor Viper.
Yeah.
And what kind of game does he go for? He doesn't go for the killing game, but viOLet's still thinking about, hey, how can I kill my opponent after I stop his push here? Whereas that's not how you play against mech, because this army isn't one that you're going to trade with efficiently. If you try and kill it, you have to hope that it runs into you and dies, which it can very well do with Swarm Host. So I just feel that viOLet's idea here of how to deal with mech, it's not one that works against a player that's just going to play patiently.
Happy not really he's not going to overextend himself. He's been very content to peruse the map, take bases,
38 Hydras.
and build an obscene amount of Ravens. Now Aspire is on the way, but he won't have any upgrades for those against 3/3 Vikings, Banshees, and +3 armor eventually Ravens.
Ultimately, like, what are 38 Hydras going to do? Like,
he needs to, I just don't understand, like, I understand what he needs to break him, but I don't understand how he's going to get Blinding Clouds on these tanks. Like, he needs to catch the Vikings out of position somehow. But if he had Corruptors or Mutalisks, then yeah, you try to abduct them. But that's going to be really tricky. He's coming in. He's going in. The Vipers actually managed to come in from the side. Point defense drones get thrown, though. And that's actually a ton of Blinding Clouds. The Hydras managed to get close, but I don't know if they can actually engage the tanks.
He shouldn't follow this. He shouldn't follow this up. I mean, the Blinding Cloud. Oh. And I mean, that was like the best engagement he was going to get out of that. Because, I mean, Blinding Clouds, I was about to eat my own words there, but man, he just lost absolutely everything regardless of that starting off so well for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the thing is, like I said earlier, half those tanks could beat all those Hydras, and he had to pull back, throw in a Seeker Missile. Oh man, poor bastard.
That was like in Warcraft 3 where you deny because you don't want your opponent to get experience, but like...
You know, in StarCraft, I guess technically wouldn't that deny the EXP that a player would get?
I think so, yeah. But what does that XP really matter?
Hey man, there's some gold leaguer out there that knows how to troll his opponents just a little bit better now.
I mean, that was just a total Warcraft 3 move. It's like, you know, moral victory right there. Okay, so lots of Ravens joining the field. And I mean, there's a huge surplus of gas here for Happy. Oh, this is kind of nasty, though.
Yeah, trying to catch that.
Oh, right in the middle. He's right in the middle.
Hard to split that one.
In fact, that was rather underwhelming, Nathanius.
Yeah, I was expecting more guts.
I was expecting way more guts. Lots of Ravens still joining the army, building armor. Very nice upgrade.
At this point, Happy's still being he's quite adventurous. I'd really like to see him repair this army. There's a lot of injured units in this mech force.
I feel that Happy's army shrank.
Is he sniping that planetary again? Okay, that was a wave of locusts that died.
Uh-oh, he's kind of grouped up again here.
You know, now without the Vikings, he can actually get Blinding Clouds so much more easily, and that really allows viOLet to take a good engagement against this force. Most of the siege tanks picked off, and Happy still has a reasonable amount of supply, but he's throwing a lot of it away.
I mean, viOLet does take out this army with Hydra, and...
Well, now I'm actually really, really worried. Like, Happy still has a crazy amount of income off of all the mules that he's built, but Happy just needs to slow down. He's been too aggressive this game, I feel. Can
we open up the resources lost tab? I'm really interested in this. So, yeah, I mean, Happy has been trading way more efficiently.
viOLet's still broke, but, like, that, I think that loss...
He lost his base? Do you think that... I think that was Banshees.
Yeah.
It has to be.
He did a lot of Hellbat run-bys throughout this game as well. Coming in now in this planetary fortress. This is actually a great way to drain a Terran's bank, man. Those PFs are not cheap to just repair all day.
No, but Happy, he lost one army, but here he is with another one. It doesn't look... In fact, where are his tanks? So he's producing a lot of... Oh, there are a lot of tanks under there.
He lost the majority of them after that fight, but that's the primary focus, to get those back. And
13.
You know, given the way this game started, Happy had a superior bank to the Swarmhost player, which is uncommon. Infestor's Terran's going to be thrown forward to take out the first shots of this PF as the Hydras move in. That Blinding Cloud not going to do the job, though. PDD, strong. Ooh. These Ravens have accumulated a game-breaking amount of energy.
Yeah, and these Hydras,
like, none of these units are actually hitting the mark because of the point defense.
And, you know, viOLet, he's trying to trade as efficiently as possible with these Hydras, but they're just not a unit that does that. I mean...
Oh, no, he's getting close to being able to chase down these swarm hosts. Don't want to move too far forward, though.
I don't think it matters, and GG is called. Happy takes a pretty convincing game 1 against viOLet.
Yeah, Happy took a couple bad trades towards the end, but he had so many resources, it didn't matter. Like, viOLet was, I'll trade away a good amount of Hydras, and normally, off of a swarm host opening, you have a huge bank. So you're like, yeah, trade, I can afford to throw these Hydras away, but if I clean up the tanks, then I can move into something else, and that's usually what we kind of begged for, some Mutalisk play or something like that, something along those lines. But we didn't get that. And the Terran was the one that was like, yeah, I can just throw away 15 tanks, which normally loses you the game.
Like, the fundamental thing that we need to address here is viOLet wasn't really sure how to handle that mech style. You know, like, you got out the Swarm Host, which we talked about, like, great, fended off the push. But there was never that follow-up of, hey, I'm just going to play the most patient game, and I have to play not to lose.
Yeah.
Because when he started making these mobile units, going for like task forces and Operation
Like,
Violet around the map.
I don't mind throwing a few roaches at the third, like he got some SCV kills here and there.
But ultimately, that's not going to win you the game.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is, when you play against mech, it's not a game of like how you're going to win it anymore. In fact, well, it is how
it's, you know, it's a war of attrition.
It's trying not to lose.
Yeah.
And Violet didn't really do that. And we do know he is an aggressive Zerg that likes to counterattack all over the map, and he's very good at it. But
I felt like
you can't do that against mech.
The first couple of fights he took, like he waited so long to build the Vipers, despite how fast he had that hive, and like you need Vipers to beat mech. Like at the very least, if they don't have anti-air to deal with mutas, then they won't have it to deal with the Vipers either. And by the time he had Vipers, there were Vikings out, and I feel like you're hoping to get lucky when you're going for like Viper flanks, because if the Vikings are any range in front of the siege tanks, then you'll never place those blinding clouds.
And even if you do, like, let's say you have 3 Vipers, which is a pretty normal number to have, maybe even 4. Each one of those is 100, 200 within regards to like minerals and gas.
They're very expensive.
So let's say you lose like 4 Vipers each fight. That's because you're going to lose them. Like they're going to die. That's an 800 gas investment every time, which that could be 8 swarm hosts. You know, like having 16 locust extra per wave. Like that's almost a trade that I'd take. In fact, that is a trade I would take. Like instead of having the Hydra,
it's a trade Firecake might take.
Yeah, I mean, if we get to see Firecake against Happy today, because it'd probably be mech against Swarmhost. Like, if you do like that style as a Zerg player, watch Firecake against 4GG, because he showed us in WCS like how you're meant to play against it, and it's going to be a tedious process. It really is, and you're not going to win the game anytime soon. But if you want a sure way to win, like that's the way to do it, because Fungals you keep your opponent at bay. Swarmhost, you keep your opponent at bay. Lots and lots of spore crawl. I think when we counted how many spore crawlers he made, it was something like 150 all over the map. And I mean, how do you deal with that? Like, you don't. So Violet really needs to kind of say to himself, hey, this guy, like, he's very patient, but I need to tone down my aggression a notch, because it's not working. I'm
very interested to see how he does this on Inferno Pools, though. I don't know how mech works on that map. I feel the third base, no matter however the spawns work, that third base is very difficult to cover with how wide the entrance to the natural is at the same time.
The thing about, like, Overgrowth's a really good third map for mech as well. Like, it's a very good map for Zerg, but it's also a good map to split map as mech.
The also thing is with Overgrowth is that you, just like Vonnie Research Station, you have a small number of bases, so it's hard for the Zerg to just start taking them all over the map, whereas Inferno Pools, that's where Violet can actually have enough income to throw away ridiculous amounts of roaches and hydras. Yeah, definitely. And Inferno Pools, it's a very good map for 2-base Hydra as well. Like, I mean, not 2-base Hydra. What am I saying? 2-base Mutalisk. Yeah.
I had like
I was like 2-base Hydra. I was like, Ben,
what kind of strat is that? I've never heard of that.
It's like, you know, but no, not even at my rank have I seen that strategy.
Yeah, 2-base Mutalisk is extremely good on that map. Yeah. Like, it's very hard to take third base anyway. So going 2-base Muto, it kind of makes sense.
And it'll deal with the Banshee opening that he likes, the Hellions.
It's a huge map as well, and then you just drone up behind it, get 4 bases.
So trying to do anything aggressive against it.
Right.
Unless, and then if this happens, then we just throw out everything we just said, unless we get close spawns.
Yes.
Then
horizontal spawns are not good for a Zerg player.
I think Violet might actually like them for his roaches. I think we see a roach push out of him if we get close spawns.
You could. Against a guy that tends to go
But if that doesn't
Banshee
work, then, you know, then it goes back to, oh shit, I'm stuck.
Against a guy that tends to go Banshee a lot, though, that's also kind of like, shall I risk it? Like,
if you go fast enough, roaches, maybe.
Yeah, so many questions based on like where they spawn, and I mean, once we get into the game,
that's the crazy thing about this map. We're loading into it right now, by the sounds of it, and I'm very interested. I wonder what the vetoes were, because the Terran's always going to get rid of Expedition Lost. But what else did Happy veto that we don't have?
Well, let's say that so Expedition Lost.
Like, I would always
Deadwing maybe.
Oh, I think Deadwing's not bad for mech though. Like, it's good for swarm hosts, but any map that's good for mech is generally good for swarm hosts. I
think if you're a good swarm host player on Deadwing, I think you can contain the Terran to 4 bases pretty comfortably.
Yeah, you should never be able to move out.
With so many bases, like, that's a risk that a mech player might not be willing to take. But let's say that Violet vetoed at Secret Spring most likely, and then Catalina. I think those are two pretty decent vetoes by a Zerg player.
It's just weird because I feel like if you know the Terran likes to go mech, like if Violent did any degree of further studying on Happy's style before this group, then you should just know that like Catalina isn't necessarily the craziest mech map, although maybe Happy would change his build. That's the thing though, like I feel like at any point in this series or in these groups against Zerg, Happy could bust out a really strong bio build, because that's kind of like I expect him to be able to do that, but I felt the same way at WCS and he didn't go bio there.
So let's see. So Happy's going 12 rags, 12 gas. Very standard Reaper play. You like this kind of build?
Yeah. My Reapers.
At this point in time, it is vertical, guys. So is this what a Zerg really wants? Well, taking your third base, you probably take the gold as your third, I suppose. It's a bit of an awkward position for a Zerg.
Yeah, because the normal third base, the one that's right next to your... I don't even know if I could say right next to, but close to your main, this one here is closer to the Terran. And the Terran player... I don't think as in TVZ when you spawn vertically, I don't mind taking the blue mineral third base because it puts you closer to the Zerg player. Your rally comes out of your natural and it covers your third base at the same time. So you don't really run into the issue of being hit with run bys unless the Zerg goes all the way around and tries to go straight to your natural. In which case, they're still going to run into the units that are rallying out of your barracks. Violent though, you know, at the start of the game, you're not 100% sure where the other guy is, of course, since it's all 4 spawns enabled. But that Overlord did get to peek. He saw the tip of the refinery and backed off, so I don't think Happy knows where Violet spawned. And this could actually hurt him if he sends that Reaper to the wrong base. The SCV's like, okay, not close spawns. Always nice to know.
I'm a bit confused with one thing in particular, which is, and I guess this is a map that you can get away with it, but like the SUV Scout.
Yeah.
Just SUV scouting in general as a Terran when you're already going Reaper, but we see, okay, like...
He finished his Reaper and he waited to start his command center. Did he not somehow not have enough money?
I'm going to tell you about this, Nathanius, because I have to talk about it. Like, so he goes a second depot, which means that his command center is later, and he only made 1 Reaper.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like,
his build is a little odd.
His build is extremely odd, and like his SUV went all the way cross map, despite, like, once you scout that your opponent isn't horizontal, you don't need to send your SUV all the way down to the left, because if you scout with your Reaper vertically,
you're gonna know where he is.
You're gonna know where he is just because that Reaper hits that bottom right
unless
spawn.
he's worried about Lings being sent out.
There's just so many inefficient things about Happy's build already that I'm not enjoying. Which confuses me, given that he plays.
Well, he just killed a little creep on the ground too. What a jerk.
That's a Warcraft 3 habit too, because those guys used to block you a lot.
Yeah.
But that being said, maybe he's just a sadist. Who knows?
He's well, get PETA on the line, man, or whatever the European equivalent is.
PETA. Like PITA or PETA?
PETA.
Ah. Okay.
I don't know if you have anything that evil.
It's like the NSPC something. I don't know. Something crazy.
Fair enough.
But anyhow, like, so he's getting a Marine. That's going to be for denying vision of an Overlord, because he wants to kind of keep what he's doing as secret as he possibly can. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ooh. Whoa, he's getting crazy. 2 extra barracks. Okay.
Okay, well, I guess...
you know what this is, Nathan?
This is like an all-in-ish type play.
All-in-ish?
It's mega all-in.
It's mega all-in. Let's not frickin' fluff it. Okay, so, guys, why is this all-in? Well, if you are a Terran not making a 3rd CC at any point in time, and you're not making a Banshee, you're not making blah-de-blah-de-blah, but mainly you're not making a 3rd CC, you have 1 chance to win against a Zerg. And with a build like this, and with what Violet's going for here, looks like he's going for the same build as last time with that +1 carapace and a roach. We're going to see, like, clash of the 2 base all-ins here.
Yeah, and generally speaking, Zerg's ability to produce units from the larva injects allows them to overwhelm a Terran when you're on low economy, so I'm very interested to see how this works for Happy. He's going to go heavy Marines. Sometimes we see Terrans like Pult when they do this, get 2 tech labs and pump out a lot of Marauders.
With so many Hellions on the field, and the fact that he can produce 2 more, it's very obvious that Happy's hoping, he's praying that his opponent is going for like a 3rd base and Ling Baneling, and he can take out all those Lings with his Hellions.
And then the Marines just mop up.
Yeah, the Marines mop up and you micro, but unfortunately for him, his opponent is making the much stockier Roach. And here, he's scanned. He's seen the Roaches.
Yeah, it's that Carapace. Roach speed is on the way.
Oh, okay, upon that
yeah, he sees
scan,
that and he's like, okay, engineering bay, which I think is like the lack of upgrades is what kills Terrans when they run out of steam against pushes like this, because those roaches are going to be so difficult for him to actually chew through.
we should see Marauders in production. So yeah,
There we
Marauders,
go.
Medevacs in production too. But like that scan, that must have made Happy's heart sink a little bit.
It's like, ah.
Like,
I mean, viOLet did take, you know, relatively late third base, but if the Terran is on 2 bases, there's very... Well, I guess that's one adjustment he can make. I think this... I guess he gets something out of it.
now, like, can we look at viOLet's view here? Like, what does viOLet actually see? So he sees nothing. He has no idea what's happening. Like, he has no idea about that lack of third base or the possible third base. He has no idea what composition his opponent's doing. For all he knows, well, he's not getting Banshee harassed. The Hellions aren't harassing him.
As long as he stays aware of what's going on the map, like if he can just hold on to these towers, this Changeling seeing some units, I think he should be okay. He's starting his Baneling Nest a bit late compared to when his lair finished, so he won't have Baneling speed, but...
Happy is 2-basing, right? But he's preparing for viOLet's possible 2-base.
Yeah, I mean, if viOLet were to attack into this, then Happy has a phenomenal opportunity to counter and push him. But Happy starts 1-1 now. I still think without a third command center, like the...
So +1/1 starts for Happy.
It's all on Happy to make a play with this push. He has to make a push at some point, and he has to do a crazy amount of damage.
Oh, so viOLet scouted.
No getting around it.
viOLet scouted everything here. He sees that... Hey, this guy's got quite a few barracks up, but that's kind of in time with his third CC as well.
Yeah, he's got some lings going to check for that third, or maybe the roaches. Like, as long as once he realizes there's no third, then he knows that he doesn't actually need to build anything right now except for units, and he's cranking out lings. And we should see him start banelings. There we go, 12 on the way. And once baneling speed and his very late ling speed finish, I think he's going to be in a great spot.
Really good overlord spread by viOLet here too on the right side. So these lings don't yet have speed, so...
that really...
They're +1 armor though.
Yeah, but I mean, slow lings.
Slow lings kind of suck.
Yeah, they kind of suck.
But is that the kind of damage that Happy needs to do?
Nope.
No, he needs to do a lot more. His opponent got a very healthy economy, pretty decently saturated.
He's gone up to 5 racks now without that third command center, so he is 100% committed to getting an insane amount of damage done before he takes a third, or just try to win the game on 2 bases.
Yeah, Happy's being a nuesance here. He's really buying time with this medevac. He's
how
moving
long
out.
has he been supply blocked? He's banking an absurd amount of minerals as well.
Ugh.
He doesn't have any depots in production. We're going to see some calldowns behind this, but he's moving out. He's getting ready to make his big push. I guess if he loses his army, then he frees up supply.
1,400 minerals while you're trying to 2-base all in.
Yeah.
That is not where you want to be. Baneling speed almost finished. +1 melee almost finished. viOLet's kind of running in, taking out... Oh, big flank here, big flank.
I mean, with Baneling speed and this creep spread, this was an attack that should never have worked. And now it's like, hey, guess what? My 1-1's done after I lost the game.
This is why you don't often see 2-base all-in from the Terran, because it is exceedingly easy to shut down. So, Happy, upon seeing this map and seeing these positions, maybe he felt he had very little chance. I mean, is it a map that you can play mech on? It's huge, so it kind of makes it tough to get away with that, but viOLet here, she's going for a big counter. Is he going to lose? He's going to lose his third? Yeah, possibly. Well, the attack's coming into the natural of Happy now. Big attack.
Yeah, he's going to push through. Just one tank to hold on will not be enough, and he should be able to crush through most of this. I mean, the resilience of Marines with medevacs and SCV pulls are nice, so I feel like the stream should be enough. That third command center he was building is shut down. GG. Happy taps out, and viOLet ties the series 1-1. Infernal Pools, very interested in to know why it wasn't vetoed by either player, but it seems that viOLet is very comfortable playing the scrappy low econ styles, and I feel like for someone like him, it actually makes playing on a map like Infernal Pools not that bad, because a Terran who tries to abuse the map doesn't really get much done. Like Happy's push against a Zerg, like as you said, that just goes up to 3 bases, plays greedy, gets like a, even slightly later Baneling Nest. That's the kind of Zerg that this push can crush. But even then, Happy's fear of an attack from viOLet after his scan, like he delayed the push from moving out for so long that it should never have worked anyway. Like if you're pushing out at 12 minutes with that. Like, I feel like that's more like a 9-10 minute push. I don't know.
My Terran brain just doesn't understand Happy in that game. Like,
yeah, that build didn't make a lot of sense.
I mean, even right from the get-go, like he went 1 Reaper,
and then he
two
went
depots,
he went
into
Reaper.
CC.
Yeah, then he got the command center. Then he got the factory like really late, but I don't know. Usually if you go 1 Reaper, it's like reactors immediately after too.
And
I don't know.
you get 1 depot, so you get your CC earlier because you're not going to get supply blocked.
Yeah.
And just a lot of things just didn't click, and I don't know if that's why Happy felt like, man, I kind of screwed up my build. I'm just going to go all in. Which, if you ask any Terran that plays, like, you know, at a top level, like, how often does that all-in work for you, mate?
Close to never.
Close to never, especially on a large map like Inferno Pools.
Yeah.
Like, we saw by the time he actually got... And his macro wasn't that good either. Like, he had up to 1,500 minerals, I think, or 1,400 minerals at one point, while 2-base all-inning. So how many Marines is that? That's a good, like, 30 Marines extra in your push, possibly. But his 4th and 5th barracks were exceedingly late. Like, and he was expecting this all-in to hit, because he pulled, like, 10 SCVs around that single bunker. So Happy just looked extremely... like not on his game.
Yeah, that was sloppy, but you know now we're back onto a map that favors the style that he likes to play, right? So
that being said, like viOLet, clean creep spread, like a safe build. He realized like, hey, I can't attack into this guy. I'm just going to get up a pretty good economy with 60 drones. So he didn't over drone at all. Very good creep spread. Had overlords well placed for drops. Like I think viOLet's play was very clean, very clinical, and. Yeah, a much better game. Like, it was very obvious that viOLet is very good at dealing with, like, an attacking situation. But as soon as it... sorry, there's so many thoughts coming to my mind right now for both these players. Like, Happy, he has to realize, hey, my opponent doesn't deal with mech, or doesn't deal with mech very well at all. I'm going to go mech.
I would almost put money that we'll see mech on this map. Like, it just makes sense. With how well that first game went, and Happy's pedigree for mech in the last month... I don't see any reason why he shouldn't.
And viOLet, upon how different both these games went, depending on how different my opponent's unit composition was, like viOLet has to realize, hey, my opponent's going to go mech for sure. Is there any shortcuts I can take against mech? Well, as a mech player, you almost always go Cloak Banshee. Possibility of Hellbats can be there too. But like he knows the timings that a mech player is probably going to go for, and based on how this series has gone so far, he has to gear himself up mentally. And I think that's a huge advantage, knowing most likely what your opponent's going to do. Like, and he really needs to realize what his mistakes were early game.
Yeah. So this game, hatch first, pool, nothing crazy, no proxies. SCV's going to scout after the barracks.
So, I mean, this SCV scout says to me that he's only planning on making
after the Reaper too.
Yeah, this SCV scout tells me that he's very worried about those, like, Ling run-bys. So his SV only plans on running to the natural to see if there is a natural.
Yeah, I mean, he can see based on the health of the hatchery building what time it'll finish. So he knows it's a hatch first now. He knows it's a hatch first.
Is that what he's going for the bunker again?
With the drone here, that'd be really surprising.
I think he's going to do. I think he's going to try and put it on the right side of these minerals.
Yeah, between by the minerals. I would assume between the hatchery and the minerals, so that you can dodge the drone. I don't know though.
Maybe at top of the ramp.
How brave is he feeling is the real question.
Top of the ramp would be a nice spot for it if he was to go for it, but
yeah, for a 2 Reaper opening, I guess it's, you know, it seems to be something he wants to do. He does get the command center before the bunker this time, though. I do like that decision. The only thing he's delaying is his factory, but he can still get his reactor after the 2nd Reaper instead, and just delay that a little bit more.
I mean,
he hasn't been able to hit that SCV, by the way. Trying to click on it, but
gets it now.
Those random movements make him hard to target.
Yeah, and actually, he's killing quite a few Lings with this Reaper. And is he gonna get? Okay,
man.
so he got it.
Both times he tries that in this series.
Whoa. Okay, this is important, Nathanius. He's not getting Ling speed.
Oh yeah, that's just like a really fast. What is this? 8 or 9 roach.
Do you know what he's gonna go soon? There's gonna be 2 overlords coming out on the field. It was a nice little drone snipe there, by the way. There should be another one pretty soon. Spore crawler goes. Another spore. Ooh, nicely timed.
That was actually really.
Ooh, saving all those units. So
that was smooth.
Only one overlord. Only one overlord.
Well, I guess he just hasn't been building drones, so he still has a good amount of supply open. To be, you know, in all honesty.
I mean, he's still got.
But he could have built. He could have built more roaches.
Look,
yeah, he's starting.
Look,
okay. Right, Muslim, you know this build better than he does, and he got supply blocked for it.
What can I say, man? Like, I've had... This is the build I do to you every time.
Oh, yeah, you cheesy bastard. Hey, Nathanius, let's play a game. Like, good old chaps. I'm going to roach rush you. I'm like, God damn it.
I mean, have you stopped it yet, Nathanius? The answer is no, because it's a really hard build to stop. Oh, oh. Why'd he place that? Oh, there's so many things not making sense. Like, why try and build the spore, like, a few pixels up when you could just place it on the drone? But here... Like, really sick harass by Happy. How many drones have been killed by Happy? Is it like 4 or 5 so far? So, in fact, just 3 drones, 4 Lings, but for 2 Reapers and all the buildings that he's forced.
Yeah.
And
here's the real question.
What does he have at home?
Yeah, with 2 Widow Mines are coming in. He's got a bunker on the high ground and a Marauder, so...
Solid response by Happy.
He's got enough time to get these out, I think, so he should be okay.
Super solid.
Could be tricky, but yeah.
Super solid response. Like, he's not risking a bunker on the low ground.
And having the Reapers back home.
Yeah.
He's got this. He even pulls the SCVs up, lifts the command center. It's like, no.
Yeah, and he's got Widow Mines here. I mean, sure, this is getting denied for a little bit of time, and like this is kind of nice by Happy.
He starts his lair behind this. No third base still, and Banshees are on the way. So
I mean, getting up a third base now is kind of suicidal. If I was viOLet in this situation, like, can he run a?
Oh man, those Reapers. viOLet, I think Happy realizes is like, well, viOLet's can't kill me, so he's probably going to build drones.
Okay.
The one thing that's nice, if he can try to block this natural, the creep, just try to be a big pain in the ass.
And Happy, upon all this happening to him, is going 3 barracks
with no third command center.
I don't like this.
I really don't. I feel like this is a great position, just head into mech, but he's like, I got to build Marauder, so I might as well get Stim. I don't know. I think Happy should just play his game. But
ideally, you're going to get that 1 Banshee out, which is going to make those roaches retreat for a long time.
Oh, the drone is slips by. The drone slips by. He should be able to start his third base. That's unfortunate.
Wait, you know, like this 1 Banshee that he got, it made the army retreat single-handedly. So why try and get out a really fast army now? Like, is he predicting mutas and he's going to go for some timing attack before mutas? Like, when he's played against this guy going for this roach build most of the times, like, it just seemed really...
Like, he's got a better start than the last game. Like, we can at least give him that, but like he could guarantee himself. I don't want to say it like that, but you know, he could put himself in a phenomenal position if he just played his standard game behind this.
Yeah, like,
rather than going for this push that gives viOLet an opportunity to barely defend and then be ahead.
I like the fact that he's making tanks though already. So he's getting tanks, he's getting 5 Marines at a time. This Banshee's doing quite a bit, and ooh, the Banshee will ultimately probably die here. Boom, nice little bit of stutter step micro with those queens. So I mean, like, I've been dissing Happy's build quite a bit here, but if he can somehow hit a timing, but against roaches with speed, like, the one thing you don't really want to be playing against when you're doing this all in is roaches, but he is making Marauders and he's making tanks. Ugh. It's going to be close, actually.
I don't like 2 base. As much of a chance as this has to work, I still just don't like 2 base pushes. And TVZ.
They've kind of gone out of fashion because how often they don't work. And I mean, is this little move out scary, even if it's accompanied by 2 medevacs, which it will be pretty soon? Not really at all. And I mean, it's cool getting an Overlord here, an Overlord there, but there's no third base on the way. Is there a 4th and 5th barracks on the map? Like, let's have a look back at this base. So he's relying on 3 barracks.
Okay, there's 2 medevacs moving out.
Like, he has to hope that these 2 medevacs deal a lot of damage. In fact, now he knows that there's 2 Overlords over there. Like, he'll return there if he deals no damage here.
There's a lot of roaches moving in.
This is messy. Why is viOLet here?
2 tanks in the bunker with those SCVs immediately pulled. Happy's not taking any damage, and these Hellions coming in. He's like, yeah, I want to kill drones. It's like, well, viOLet doesn't really have a lot of drones, so sorry, buddy. Hydralisk then is on the way. All these mines. Drones run drones.
Boom. There's kind of a bit of self-damage there on a drone. But
score. All right. Trying to move that Widow Mine closer to the drones, but it will get picked off. Still, this is doing, I would say, what it needs to. He's setting himself up to make this big attack. I still wouldn't mind just go through command center,
like, we have to understand why viOLet moved that across the map. So let's look at viOLet's vision. Like, we have to look, like, if we look at viOLet's vision here, what's he seen? He's seen absolutely nothing, and yet again.
Yeah, I guess he gets to gut check to some extent.
Like,
you don't expect a Terran to just build tanks.
So now we have the 2nd eBay in production. We have so it's a 4th barracks, then a third CC. So really, really delayed third CC. So he is hoping to play the macro game here.
I still feel like that gives viOLet a chance to come back in this game, but he's gonna, at least he's getting it and not committing himself to an all-in.
I mean, viOLet's been playing very much so in the dark, like all of these games.
It's such a scrappy game the way that the both players choose to take this. Neither one of them really interested in going standard in any of the games.
No, which is very, very odd. But I get, like, viOLet kind of knows he was against a mech player and got 2 base all-in, which failed. Like, why would my opponent go 2 base all-in again? It's just a very weird situation. Like, I kind of understand what viOLet didn't really know what was happening. That's why he moved out across the map. This is kind of a scary push now, though. Like, that's a good number of Marauders.
Yeah, this is a very strong force. Happy's going to ask for a quick pause. Hopefully everything is okay.
I have to be critical, though, like, because...
What a weird build.
That's the thing. Like, they're weird builds by both of them. That being said, like, viOLet, he went for the normal, but if you are viOLet, you have to assume that your opponent's getting a third CC when you deny his natural like that. Like, it's the right move to make. Like, does a Terran make 2 extra barracks at that point in time, think, hey, I'm going to all-in him? Like, no, that isn't the normal move that people make in that position. So, I understand why viOLet made some of the decisions that he did, because, yeah, Happy played very, very unusual, but now Happy's got a pretty damn strong anti-roach army.
Yeah, 4 siege tanks are going to do a world of pain to this. The Hydras are running up. There are roaches on the right side. I feel like Happy should try to clear all of it out before he moves in, but, well, I guess the Hydras backed off, so all the roaches on the right are dead. viOLet can only attack this force from one direction, and that means those 4 tanks are going to absolutely wreck him. Ugh. Drop hits the main base at the same time, forcing 20 supply of roaches to go over there, and...
viOLet's screwed here.
Just blow on it. We'll knock right over.
viOLet's screwed. There's so many tanks here. Even if he cleans this up, he's trading so inefficiently here. That drop in the main still kind of dealing damage, it looks like, on the minimap. More roaches join the fray, but so many drones killed. Look! He's still dealing damage with this drop. This drop did not get cleaned up whatsoever, so drones...
trying to hug those Marines to death isn't going to work. He does actually clean up the tanks, and that hatchery survived with 1 hit point. He's like up to 10 health now. He's like, yeah!
Like, yeah, you cleaned up that attack, but look at the supply. I mean, all Happy has to do is kind of say, hey, look, I'm going to go again. And he did get a 3rd base behind this, remember?
Yeah,
Happy
he did. He actually built a 3rd command center.
So, I mean, it was very much so like an all-linear attack, but everything that led up to this moment was weird. Like, viOLet put himself at a huge deficit by attacking because he thought, hey, my opponent's probably taken... Like, my opponent's probably done a normal thing here. He didn't do a normal thing. He had drops in his base. Like, the whole game, it was weird from the get-go. You know, those Reapers did way more damage than they should. He got Roach attacked.
But Happy should be feeling good now.
Yeah.
He did a tremendous amount of damage. The only thing that sucks is he didn't just, blow over that 3rd base. Like, viOLet's got to be thanking his lucky stars for that, but I don't know if he can stop this next attack.
I mean, that's quite a number of Roaches. And do we have a siege up here? Oh, we do have a siege up.
Oh, yeah, he's a little slow, though, and still taking enough of a fight close to the creep where viOLet can get a decent spread, but the tanks, man, tanks are going to tank, and this many medevacs makes this army very difficult to actually finish off.
And 2-1 upgrades incoming for Happy, so 2-1 is done now, so his bio dealing a lot of damage to these Hydras and Roaches, and 110 supply against 70, GG is called. So
Happy taking the 2-1, going to move.